I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. There's a lot of light in the sky this week, and that's why the title of tonight's show is called Getting It Right. And I think all of us are going to have a chance to do that, because there is a rare configuration going on among the planets, and it is because there are two Grand Trines going on at the same time, and that involves a total of 8 planets out of the 10. So that can help you get something right this week, because there are 4 planets that are in a Grand Trine in the air signs, and there's another 4 planets that are in a Grand Trine among the water signs. And so this is a time when you probably are going to be able to succeed at getting something right. But it could be sort of an uphill climb at times. It could be a little bit tough. And that is because you may have to reassess your future plans in light of unknown facts that come to the surface that you suddenly find out about. Or it could be that there is something that has been going on in your life and you're beginning to realize that it's a false start. And there could be more than one of those that you've made this year. Or it can simply be that there is something that is going on that represents an unsustainable temporary effort. In other words, if you or someone else has been making a temporary effort of some sort, or there are uncertain costs connected to something, then that is something that you need to straighten out in one way or another in order to get something right. So there are problems that do exist. And so this is when we can sort of take a look at things. The biggest problem or the biggest threat to whatever is going on in your life this week is money. And the reason why is that some planets have changed signs. And that is because today the moon is at 1 degree of Scorpio. And it is precisely conjuncting Mars, which has also moved into Scorpio at 1 degree. So the moon, which rules Cancer, and our feelings and our homes and our families and the last half of life and endings, is conjuncting a very strong planet, Mars, which is in Scorpio, a fixed financial sign. And today, they are both squaring Pluto, Scorpio's other ruler, at exactly 1 degree, which is retrograde in Aquarius, the sign that rules the future. So your future plans may be altered right now as you try to get something right in light of uncertain costs that could threaten your future. And that's because these planets are so harshly squaring each other right now. Exactly. And so it can be a time when you are going to have to re-examine the way you spend your money, or who you spend your money on, or whether you're getting your money's worth out of something at all. But these two Grand Trines are going to help you overcome some of your problems. And so the first Grand Trine is in the air signs. And that is because the Sun has moved into Libra, and Mercury is also in Libra right now, and they are trining Gemini in Uranus in Gemini at 1 degree. They are also being trined by that Pluto in Aquarius at 1 degree. So Uranus and Pluto are trining each other exactly. In fact, it's sort of odd that there are 4 planets that are all at 1 degree today. The moon is at 1 degree conjuncting Mars in Scorpio. Pluto is at 1 degree squaring them because it's in Aquarius, and Uranus is at 1 degree in Gemini trining that Pluto. So that's the first degree of a sign, which means we've got a long way to go. But if we could try to get things right now, that would really help us. And so this Grand Trine in the air signs is because the Sun at 1 degree, I think the Sun is at 2 degrees of Libra today, and Mercury is at 11 degrees of Libra today, and they are trining that Uranus in Gemini, and Gemini rules short-term or temporary efforts, and they're also trining Pluto in Aquarius, which rules upper management in large corporations, government agencies, or institutions, but they're aimed toward the future because Aquarius rules the future. So this is a time that you may be able to straighten out a problem and sort of get it right or get going on the right path, because you may be able to consult a good attorney or a mediator that can help you solve your problem. And the reason why is that Mercury is the planet of communication, and the Sun is in Libra along with Mercury, and Mercury rules peace and partnership and negotiation and compromise. It rules art and beauty, but above all, it rules the law and all legal contracts. And with this Grand Trine in air signs, you may be able to talk to a good attorney or a mediator that can help you solve a problem right now. Or at least they could offer you some good advice. Gemini rules advice as well. And they could offer you some good advice in order to get a temporary solution, because Gemini rules temporary things as well. And that could help you sort of get something ironed out a little bit and get it right, or at least get it going in the right direction, particularly if you had some sort of legal problem or partnership problem or a negotiation problem of any kind. Sorry, I have a little frog in my throat today. The other Grand Trine that is really going to help you out is the Grand Trine in the water signs. And that is because Jupiter is at 22 degrees of Cancer today, and it is trining Saturn in Pisces at 28 degrees. Saturn is a planet of time. Pisces rules things behind the scenes. That's why there can be some things coming out from behind the scenes that represent information that's been hidden before. And maybe in a way that can do you some good to learn something, and that can help you sort of decide what direction to go in. Because that Saturn in Pisces trining Jupiter in Cancer, both of those planets, which are in late degrees, and that's a pretty good trine because it's a tight trine, and also Jupiter is exalted. It's the strongest planet in the heavens right now. And they are both trining the Moon and Mars in Scorpio today. Remember I said the greatest threat to your future plans is going to be money. Because Scorpio's rulers, which is a fixed financial sign, Scorpio rules credit, debt, loans, taxes, insurance costs, inheritance, and grants, or money coming in from any other source. And the rulers of that sign are harshly and exactly squaring each other. So anything that is involving costs or upkeep or any kind of pricing that's going on, that could be a problem. You could get it right. You could try to get it right, but the cost of something can really threaten you right now or threaten your future. So what we see is that with Jupiter and Jupiter in Cancer and Saturn in Pisces trining that Moon and Mars, which are tightly conjuncting at 1 degree in Scorpio, there is the possibility, particularly since the Moon rules Cancer and it's trining the sign it rules, there is the possibility that something that involves a home matter or a move or a purchase of property or the sale of a property could be somewhat smoothed out right now. And the reason why it could be smoothed out is because there may be some additional financing, or there may be a way to solve a problem in one way, a financial problem in one way or another, or at least meet the challenge of one. Okay, so that's going on. But at the same time, your costs are going to be higher than you're anticipating. So that's what we all have to work on. We can work on getting something right this week. That's probably going to work. With 8 planets trying in a Grand Trine, I think that's going to work. You really can get something right this week. But it's going to cost you more than you think. Okay? Not everybody's going to get all their money problems solved in any way. So if you anticipate higher costs, you can still get something right now, or at least you can come up with a temporary solution that is somewhat satisfactory to a lot of different people. So good luck. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries, for you. What it means, Aries, is that now, you've had Mars in Libra opposing your sun sign, indicating the cancellation of something new that you wanted to do that isn't going to work out. But at the same time, now you have the Sun and Mercury in Libra opposing your sun sign. And they're part of a Grand Trine. And they do oppose your sun sign, and your sun sign is ruled by Mars. And that Mars is in a little trouble right now because it rules not only your sign, Aries, but it rules Scorpio. And Mars is being harshly squared by Pluto in Aquarius right now. That'll have an effect on you too, because Mars is one of your rulers. And so that means that although there isn't quite as much downside to something in your life right now, Aries, it may be that you're realizing that one false start didn't work out because it really wasn't sustainable. There wasn't a whole lot backing it up. Well, that's fine. Your sign rules new starts. You're going to be great at making a new start. And it may help you to go and talk to an attorney or some sort of a mediator that can help you work out a temporary solution, or at least you could get good legal advice right now, Aries. And that could get you a little bit further on towards something new that you want to do. And so, or else what I really think it will be, since the title of the show is Getting Something Right, it simply means that you could be working, after you get some good legal advice, you could be working maybe with a mediator to work something out that is that helps you get beyond the problems you're having now and get you headed toward the future. And that would be good for you, Aries. It doesn't mean you're there. And also, lawyers cost money. So, I mean, for all of us, if we want to get something right now, it's going to cost us more than we think, because Scorpio's rulers are squaring each other. But on the other hand, maybe with these two Grand Trines going on, one in the air signs, which are very creative and conceptual, and one in the water signs, which means that we can understand not only our feelings, but other people's feelings. So sorry that I'm hoarse today. I apologize for that. We can get started in new directions. That's exactly what you need to do, Aries. And that is because you almost have no choice. Starting over, that's never a problem for an Aries because they're so good at that. It's just that you almost have to put something behind you that has been a disappointment from your past. And, just move on to something new. And I think that the wisest way, even though it will cost you a little extra money, would be to get some good advice, some good legal advice first. And it might be that you're wanting to set up some legal company or corporation or some sort of legal entity that you want to be head of. Oh, that would please you, Aries. Why don't you go ahead and do that? And good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time when I think that there is something that is going to cost you a whole lot more than you thought it would. And I think you've got the money to cover it. That's the good news. But still, you wouldn't want to be paying much more for something. But I think you're going to have to, or else that you may be facing right now a financial problem that has to do with credit, debt, taxes. They could be going up, loans, or some insurance costs that could be going up, or something to do with an inheritance, or with any kind of money that has been coming into you. And of course, yours is an investment sign. You might have made some good money on your investments, so maybe you would owe more taxes right now, Taurus. And I think that what you're coming up against is the fact that the Moon and Mars are in Scorpio, and Mars rules Scorpio, so it's real strong there, are opposing your sun sign. And unfortunately, Pluto, Scorpio's other ruler, is in Aquarius squaring your sun sign. That's why the fixed signs, yours sign, and also Leo and Scorpio and Aquarius, are all going to be looking at higher costs right now. And I think since yours is a fixed financial sign, if you have been fortunate in your investments and you do owe more taxes and you've got to come up with the money or sell something or whatever, you're going to have to sort of bite the bullet and do that, Taurus, because you're going to be facing higher costs right now. And the only other choice you have is to decide not to spend the money on something. But if you're purchasing something, maybe you could put off that expensive purchase right now. But if that's not your problem, and your problem is something like taxes or extra debt that you are thinking of accruing, those could be problems for you. And so you're going to need to understand that whatever you want to do right now, anything that you want to do right now, Taurus, is going to cost you more money than you want to pay. And so if I advise you to think it over, possibly this is not, timing is everything. Maybe this is not the right time for you to be spending a lot of money, because it would keep on going up. You'd keep paying it out, but would you be getting your money's worth back? Now that's something for you to decide, Taurus. And if you were thinking of doing anything that was even remotely extravagant right now, it would not work out. And so whatever is going to smooth out, if you want something to smooth out in your life, it's still going to cost you more money than you want to pay. But it depends on what your priorities are, and no matter what they are, get ready to let go of some money right now, Taurus. And if you don't want to let go of it, then you're just going to have to do without right now. But anything that could be costing you money is going to cost you more than you think. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Oh, Gemini. Well, your side benefits from this Grand Trine that is in the air signs. It's been doing that for weeks now, Gemini. And that is because Uranus is at 1 degree in your sign. It's retrograde. It is exactly trining Pluto in Aquarius, also at 1 degree and also retrograde. But Uranus in your sign is trining the sign it rules, Aquarius, which rules the future. You could really have your mind on the future right now, Gemini, and in a very favorable way. I wouldn't be surprised if you were making future plans right now. It's just that you have to look at everything. In other words, there could be future plans that you're sort of reassessing right now, but it can be that they change a little bit according to hidden information that comes out from behind the scenes, because Saturn in Pisces is squaring that Uranus in your sign. But Uranus, which is being trined beautifully by Pluto in Aquarius, that Uranus in your sign is also being trined by the Sun in Libra today, and by your own ruler, Mercury, which is also in Libra, trining your Sun. That's why I think that if you have some sort of a legal question, or you're anticipating a legal partnership coming up in one way or another, you may want to consult an attorney right now. Or if you're in any kind of controversy at all, you may want to talk to a mediator that could give you some very good advice right now. And if you know of somebody who's got a problem, you may want to be an advisor to them as well, Gemini, and you would do a good job of that, because your sign rules advice already. So anyway, I think that if you find out more information, or you talk to a legal counsel or a mediator, you could be getting some helpful information that could at least offer you a temporary solution to a problem. And so that would be good for you. And so I think that other than you having to be a little bit careful about hidden information that comes out from behind the scenes that could sort of alter your future plans a little bit, I think you're going to be able to go forward and probably, depending on the good advice that you get, you probably could be pretty successful at something right now. And so I do think that in the end, you're going to get something right, Gemini, so congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer. This is a time, Cancer, when there's a second Grand Trine in the planets right now, and it's in the water signs, and it certainly is being led off by that exalted Jupiter that is in your sign today, because it's at 22 degrees, and it is trining Saturn, that planet of time and stability and hard work, which is at 28 degrees in Pisces, which is a sign ruling things that are going on behind the scenes. And so it can be, with this close trine between Jupiter, which is exalted in your sign, and Saturn, that something behind the scenes that had been sort of sitting on the back burner, it could even be a dream that you've had for a long time, the possibility of it finally working out at last is pretty high, because Jupiter's so strong in your sign, and it's closely trining that Saturn. Both of these planets are being trined by the moon, your own ruler, Cancer, today in Scorpio at 1 degree, which is tightly conjuncting Mars in Scorpio, which is also trining your sun. Okay, so you benefit from the Grand Trine in the water signs because your sign is a water sign, and it's got the most powerful planet in the heavens right now, Jupiter, which is exalted. Lucky you, Cancer. So you're going to get something right. It's going to involve your feelings. And it may involve some dream that looks like, oh, gee, it just might come true. After all, there could have been times when it didn't look like it was going to come true. Or it could involve some sort of a move that you are contemplating making back home, or closer to the way you were raised, or under the guidance of your parents. Maybe you're sort of starting to think that, gee, they might have been right after all about some things, and you're deciding to follow up on their wise guidance and advice. That would be a good idea. I think that some real estate matter or a move of yours can be smoothed out in a way that will please you very much. I think it'll work out just fine, Cancer, but it's going to cost you more than you think. For everybody, whatever anybody wants to do right now, it's going to cost them more than they think. Well, why is that? Well, it can be because of problems that we don't make, but that we are affected by, such as financial problems like credit or debt or loans, or higher costs in insurance rates, or higher interest rates anywhere on charges that we have to pay. So, excuse me. So Cancer, I think you're going to have some problematic, it could be a financial thing or a real estate thing, sort of work out in your favor. I think it's actually really going to work out in your favor, and finally give you a green light that let you go forward, even if it's going to cost you a little bit more, and really get something right now. It's very important that you concentrate on that, Cancer, on getting something right while the stars are with you. It's extremely rare that there would be 2 Grand Trines going on at the same time. I mean, that involves 8 of the 10 planets up there. Everybody's going to get something right, because your sign has the strongest planets in the heavens right now, which is the only exalted planet, Jupiter. You're really going to get something right, Cancer. So good for you. And if it means possibly making an old dream come true, or being able to move somewhere that you feel a little bit more emotionally at home and secure, that would just be great too. And particularly if you're moving back to something that reminds you of the way, the guidance that your parents gave you. When you're young, you don't think your parents are right about anything. But when you grow up, if you've done well, you might want to give a little credit to the people that guided you along the way. And you could be doing that now, Cancer, so congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Excuse me, I'm sorry. Oh, who wants to sneeze on television? Leo, I'm sorry about that. So what it means to a Leo is that, Leo, this is a time when, since yours is a fixed sign, just like Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio are, you're going to be coming up against higher costs somewhere. And a challenge, possibly a challenge to your leadership or power, and that is because Pluto is in Aquarius at 1 degree, and it is a planet that represents upper management in large corporations, government agencies, or institutions who are very focused on the future and not on you. Okay? And yet, if everybody has a future, and so if you're wanting to go forward in your future right now, Leo, you're certainly going to be running up against some sort of a power struggle, and it might be that other people want to go forward in a way that does not depend on your leadership skill. Now, you have leadership skill because leadership is ruled by your sign, but there isn't anything in your sign, and your sign is being opposed by Pluto in Aquarius, and unfortunately, the reason why you're going to have to pay more money for something right now, or it could be something that has to do with a past debt, or just higher costs on things, or loans that haven't been repaid, or taxes, or higher insurance costs. The reason why you're going to have to pay more is because not only is Pluto opposing your sun sign, which means that somebody else is going to go forward in a power position and they're not taking you with them, Leo. This might not bother you though. Maybe you don't care about that. That's fine. But you are probably going to care about financial costs that are rising right now for you, and that is because the moon and Mars in Scorpio are also squaring your sun at the same time that Pluto is opposing it, and Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio, and everybody is going to have some sort of higher costs related to the things that Scorpio rules, such as credit, debt, loans, taxes, insurance, inheritance, and grants. And it looks to me, Leo, like if you have been sort of going along, not paying off something that should have been paid off a while back, or if somebody that has loaned you some money wants their money back, this could be the time when they could be pressing you for that. No matter what, you're going to have higher costs, Leo. Now, it could be that you want to start something new, or you want to take a very expensive trip. Well, those things cost more money too. So it might not be all bad news, but I do think that there's going to be higher costs that possibly you were not anticipating, but they're going to be knocking on your front door, Leo, and you will have to pay them. And even if it just involves higher insurance rates, you'll just have to pay them. There is no way you can get out of it. And I think it has something to do with the settlement of some things that were sort of on hold that involved financial matters. And they are no longer going to be on hold. They have to be resolved. And so if you want to get something right, you're going to have to end something by paying more for it. And even for your freedom. Aquarius rules freedom. And you're just going to have to pay more for it. Or else you may be in a position where you're losing some money right now that you weren't counting on. But I think you have the money, Leo. I mean, I'm not thinking that you're going to go broke or anything. But nobody likes to pay extra money for things. But you're really going to have to right now. So in order to get something right. And actually, you should be more concerned with that than anything else. If you wanted to sort of wipe the slate clean in one way or another, it's going to cost you more to do it. But wouldn't you be happier to have it done? I think you would, Leo. So that would be good for you. You'll be able to put something behind you, and that I think you'd really like that. Sort of like turning over a new leaf. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time, Virgo, that I think that you can be anticipating a little bit of relief in one way or another, mainly because there are no planets in your sign anymore, and also because your own ruler, Mercury, has moved into Libra now, and so has the Sun. Okay, so there aren't any planets in your sign anymore, Virgo, and so that means that you might be going through a little bit of a quiet time, or some sort of catch-up time, or something where you can think about things a little bit more on your own schedule and in a way that doesn't worry you so much. So that's good, Virgo. And so this is a time when, if there are problems, particularly financial problems that can be coming up, I think that you're going to be able to handle them in a way that does get something right. And so I don't think that you've done anything wrong, Virgo. What I think is that there may be a way for you to handle some money or debt or credit or a loan or insurance costs or an inheritance matter or money coming to you in any way, including taxes, I think you're going to be able to handle that in a logical, and your sign rules logic, and cost-effective way. But the point is you'll still have to pay out more money in order to solve a problem right now, but you'll do it in the best way that you know how, which would be good. And it can be because you go to a lawyer or a mediator that can give you some good advice. Remember that Grand Trine in air signs is to everyone's benefit right now. And Libra's right ahead of your sun sign where the sun and your ruler Mercury are. And so if you went to a lawyer to get some good advice, or a mediator, sort of a go-between that can maybe help you resolve some sort of partnership issue or legal issue right now, that would be a good idea, Virgo. It would be money well spent because it would help you reach a solution. And Virgos are very good problem solvers, but it can be that you just don't know enough, particularly the legal ramifications of something, and that's why you should try to see a lawyer or a mediator to give you advice on some change that you're wanting to make right now, Virgo. That's all right. And as I said, money well spent. And besides, it doesn't hurt to get somebody else's opinion on something. You really are a good problem solver. But if you gather information from different sources, it's just going to help you make a better, have a better solution to a problem, as you sort of look at it from all sides. And so that'll really help you out, Virgo. Remember, I think this is a time with 2 Grand Trines going on involving 8 planets that are getting along with each other. We should all take advantage of that. Nothing wrong with that. So get out and talk to people right now, Virgo, and don't try to reach a definitive conclusion by yourself. If all you're doing is getting counseling on any kind of a problem that you have right now, you should do it. Just because it gives you a different perspective, and that can help you, as you're looking at different perspectives, it can help you decide on a solution yourself. And I think that you would make a good one, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, I think I got my voice back. Libra, congratulations. The sun is in your sign, and so is Mercury right now. The sun is only at 2 degrees in your sign, so it's going to be there a while, Libra. And Mercury is there as well, trining the sign it rules, Gemini. And it's trining, both of those planets in your sign are trining Uranus in Gemini right now. And Pluto in Aquarius is also trining your sign. And so this is a wonderful time, Libra, for you to try to make up your mind about something that you've had your mind on, or that you've always wanted to do, or that you've had it in the back of your mind for a long time, and maybe you don't see how you could be wildly successful at it, but you'd still like to give it a try. Well, why don't you do that? Why don't you try something that is temporary or short-term? That's what Gemini rules, temporary or short-term projects. And since you've got the Grand Trine in the air signs and you've got the sun in your sign, Libra, why don't you just try something a little bit that is what, just stick your toe in the water, Libra. Give something a try. It doesn't mean you have to jump in at the deep end of the pool. It just means that you get your feet wet a little bit. Try something out. And you have nothing to lose. Actually, Aquarius rules experimentation because it rules invention. And Pluto is trining your sun. Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius, is also trining your sun. You should not be trying to do anything that you've done before. I'm not saying quit your job or anything. I'm just saying carve out a little extra time for you to try something that you've been thinking about for a long time that you would like to do. How do you know how it's going to work until you try it? And also, it's aspected to work out better than you think, particularly in the future. So I'm not saying that your first little baby steps are going to be anything but just little steps. But you might be really on the right track, okay? It might be a long road to success, but this is an absolutely wonderful time for you to try out something new, Libra. You sure won't know if it'll succeed until you do it. And you don't have to do anything big. Just get going. Just try. Put one foot in front of the other. And if I were you, I would not aim for any kind of specific success. What I would do instead, if I were you, is just try it out. See how you feel. If you like that first step, then try another one. See how you feel. You don't have to be in a hurry, Libra. You just have to get going towards something in the future that you've had your mind on for a long time, and now is the time to get going. You can get it right. Anybody can get something right now. It's going to cost them more than they think, and also, it doesn't have to happen overnight. It just has to do something that makes us feel good inside. And you know, what's wrong with being proud of yourself? If you've got an idea for something, I think that you would be proud to try it out. And if you stumble and fall, oh, that's a good learning experience. Awful lot of people learn from their mistakes. And that way they can go back and do even better. And so you could be somewhat aspected for that. In 2026, Uranus comes into Gemini. That's where it is right now, but it's retrograde. It's going to go back in Taurus. But in 2026, it is coming into Gemini for 7 years. And Uranus rules Aquarius, which rules the future. It's going to be trining your sun the whole time, Libra. And Pluto's already in Aquarius, trining your sun. And it's going to be trining your sun for even longer than Uranus is going to be trining your sun. And that all starts next year. So this is a time for you to get going on something new, even if you don't know how it's going to turn out. Just take a baby step and see how that feels. And if it feels pretty good, take another one. Good luck. I don't think you have anything to lose. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, you know, Scorpio, you probably have money on your mind right now. And the reason why is that the moon is in your sign at 1 degree. It is exactly conjunct your ruler, Mars, also at 1 degree. And they are both squaring Pluto, your other ruler, at 1 degree of Aquarius. And so it's a very harsh square because it's exact. And Aquarius rules the future. You may be wondering, Scorpio, how much something's going to cost in the future. And all I can tell you at this point is that it's going to cost more than you think for everybody. And that's because your rulers are squaring each other. So your sign rules taxes. You could be paying more taxes. It also rules debt, and it rules credit. And maybe you've got debt that needs to be paid off, or maybe you've extended your credit a little bit more than it can take right now. Or else you could be involved with some sort of matter that has to do with insurance costs or inheritance or grants in some way. And I think that you cannot be too pleased with how the money is going right now. And it's possible that something is costing too much. And you may want to be in the budget cutting mode right now. And you know, I'm sure you want to be well supplied to get through the winter, but you may not feel like having a whole lot of freeloaders around. And so you may cut back on some certain things. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, Scorpio, because actually there is a Grand Trine in the water signs. And so that means that Jupiter at 22 degrees of Cancer, and it's exalted, is trining that moon. And the moon rules Cancer, so that's good. And it's trining Mars in your sign. And Saturn in Pisces is also trining your sign. So that means Saturn is trining Mars. That can give you some sort of relief, actually, because Saturn and Mars are two malefic planets, and they're working pretty well together. Amazing. And so if you have money problems, I think you're going to be able to straighten them out. But they will need straightening out, and I think that something's going to cost you more. It could have something to do with a move or a home or going back to a place where you grew up and sort of adopting more of the guidance that your parents gave you, because some of that guidance certainly would have made you the success that you are today. That's the truth. And so maybe you're wanting to renew some of the lessons that you learned because you have more futuristic ideas that you still want to try out and succeed at. Scorpio does rule death, but it rules resurrection as well. And Pluto particularly rules deep psychological transformation and change. And this may be a time when you might be realizing that you want a change in your life. And it might be different than the way you've been living your life before. But maybe this is the right time to make a change. And that's a good idea, Scorpio. It's just that something's going to cost you more than you want to pay right now. And it may not be your fault at all. It may be due to rising costs that you don't control, but you got to pay them. Or rising taxes, maybe because you've made more money, so you got to pay more taxes. I don't know. But you're going to do fine because yours is a water sign, and there's a Grand Trine in the water signs right now. And one of the planets that's trining your sun is the strongest planet in the heavens, Jupiter in Cancer, which rules the home, and it rules real estate, and it rules America, and it rules the last half of life, and it rules endings. And so you could be in a position to make a fortunate ending right now. Believe it or not, some endings are fortunate because they let you go on a new path in a new way. And we all grow and change. And so it's just that something's going to cost you more money than you were planning on. But you know what, Scorpio, I think you've got it. And if it means that you can turn over a new leaf and grow and live on for a better day, then it's worth it, don't you think? And you can do it. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius. Sagittarius, this is a time when I think that a lot of people have got to think about what they want to do before they decide to do it. And that could pertain to you as well, Sagittarius. And that is because there is a Grand Trine in the air signs, and that involves 4 planets. And there's another Grand Trine in the water signs with 4 more planets. But none of those 8 planets are your sign, Sagittarius. Yours is a fire sign. And your ruler, Jupiter, is exalted right now. It's only exalted once every 12 years because Jupiter's stay in his sign is 1 year, and there's 12 sun signs. And so it's only exalted when it's in Cancer, not in your sign, Sagittarius. But because it is exalted this year, and it is your ruler, and it's part of a Grand Trine in water signs, what does that mean for you? It means, Sagittarius, that you would greatly benefit right now from something that makes you feel good, because the water signs rule our feelings, and something that involves possibly a real estate move of some sort, or something that involves a family thing in one way or another, or it can simply be that you could be in a position to help advise others, and they might be family members who are trying to get some sort of mess straightened out. And your sign rules international law. But it also is a very high-minded intellectual sign. And because your ruler is exalted this year, and part of next year too, you're sort of cheating yourself if all you do is just go along in your regular, normal, daily pattern. You know, that isn't good enough for you this year, Sagittarius, because your ruler is doing so great. And that means that you've got to do better too. I mean, you got to live up to the best that's in you. And you got to go forward and do something that involves a principle or an idea or a belief that you really care about, that is somewhat the basis of your life. Because your sign rules religion, and it rules people from foreign countries. It rules long-distance travel. It rules higher education, 4-year colleges and universities and graduate schools. And it rules the courts. And so Sagittarians are generally so well informed. It doesn't mean that you have to have a lot of college degrees. It means that Sagittarians always know what's going on in the world. They pay attention to it. And so you would have some pretty good ideas that you may be able to share with other people in order to advise them. And that would be you living at your highest. You know, you have a fine mind. You know what you're thinking. And maybe other people could gain by your advice right now, Sagittarius, if you just open up a little bit. And I think that, you know, you could say, well, what's in it for me? Well, actually, Sagittarians don't think like that. They're not greedy. They're not always thinking of themselves first. But if you're saying to yourself, oh, that will take me too long, or I don't have the time for that, well, I think you do, Sagittarius. Not everybody is as smart as you are, or not everybody is as inquisitive as you are, or as well read as you are. And don't you think that this world and some people in it could benefit from you sharing some of your knowledge with them? They could. What's wrong with that, Sagittarius? It doesn't cost you anything but the time to do it. So I hope you think about that a little bit more. Excuse me. Because if someone has a gift, they ought to be using it and not just going along every day, but really using. I think everybody in the world has a gift. But how many of us share it? And I think that you can do that, Sagittarius, so I hope you do. I think that you have a fine mind. And there's an awful lot of people that, you know, they have worries, and maybe they just don't know as much as you do. And if all you did was just share your knowledge with somebody else, that could really help them out. And besides, it's sort of the right thing to do. If you have a gift, you should pass it on and use it. That's why you've got it. You know, the gifts that we are born with, we're born to share them, not keep them to ourselves. And so I hope you do that, Sagittarius. You're certainly capable of it. And so go out and look for somebody with a problem, because you could help them get it right, get something right, and they would probably really appreciate that, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time, Capricorn, when I think that, you know, you've got to sort of think things over right now, and the reason why is it isn't so much that you are doing something to provoke a problem. It is, because there's not a lot of strength in the earth signs, but at the same time, you probably are in a position to help straighten out a problem. And so there may be something, a problem that you didn't cause, but it's touching you or affecting your life in one way or another, Capricorn, because the Sun and Mercury today in Libra, which remember rules the law and all legal contracts, is squaring your sun sign, and Jupiter in Cancer is opposing your sun sign, and Neptune in Aries is squaring your sun sign. Okay, so, you know, there's good planets up there that are in trine, but some of the planets are also facing problems of their own, and yours is one of the signs that's doing that right now. So you don't have a planet in your sun sign, but there could be a legal or partnership question that you need to get a little bit better advised on, or you need to straighten it out, or it can be that you are thinking of how to straighten it out, but it still would be better to confer with somebody else and see if you're on the right track first before you offer a solution to others. It's just, you know, cover your tracks, Capricorn. Make sure that you are on the side of the law before you say anything, which would be a good idea. And also there can be something that involves a home or a family or a real estate matter that's a little sticky right now, and I think you can smooth that out, but it might take a little work, and for sure it's going to cost you more money than you want to pay. But for all of us, as long as Scorpio's rulers are exactly squaring each other, and it rules so many financial things, we're all going to have to pay a little bit more for something. That's the way it is right now. we don't control the prices of a lot of things. So when they go up, all we're left is with having to pay more. And that could be something that you have to do right now, Capricorn. But you know, Capricorn, if it did smooth out a home or a family problem, why not? You know, if it could bring a little peace in somebody's life, or if it could help you get somebody off your back so that you could sleep better at night, it might be worth paying the money, Capricorn, just to end something so that you can go on in your own life quietly and happily. You know, Capricorns do not like to be in the middle of controversy all the time. They really don't like that. They like a sort of an orderly life. And that's how they live so long. And so if your peace of mind is really important to you, Capricorn, you might have to pay a little bit more for it right now. But in the end, since you are going to live a long time, it would certainly be worth it, because you have that much longer to live. Why live with a problem that you can solve if you try hard to do it, even if it does cost you a little extra money? If you can get rid of that problem, it's off your mind. That'll make you happier, and your happiness is worth it, Capricorn. So think about it. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, Pluto is in your sign. It's part of a Grand Trine in the air signs. That's been that way for weeks now. Lucky you. But it is also now being squared by Mars and the Moon today, which are conjuncting exactly at 1 degree, and they are exactly squaring Pluto in your sign, Aquarius, also at 1 degree. And these are the rulers of Scorpio. And so there can definitely be something in your life, Aquarius, that is probably going to cost you more money right now. Now, it might have something to do with the things that Scorpio rules, which are credit, debt, taxes, loans, insurance costs, inheritance, and grants in one way or another. But it might also be, Aquarius, that you have some new idea of yours, or you have a new way that you want to go in your life, a new path that you want to take in your future. And so I advise you, before you make any change or even spend any money right now, I think you're going to have a financial cost coming up. And before you pay the cost, which I think actually you're going to have to pay as well, you need to get some good legal advice. And you can do that, Aquarius, because the Sun and Mercury in Libra are trining your Sun, and Libra rules the law. So if you were trying to get some good legal advice right now and you had to pay for that, it would be worth every penny. It would really be a good idea for you to do that. Because if you're thinking of a change in your future, I think you should get some good advice on how to do that in a way that's best for you and can protect you in the future as well. And then Pluto in your sign is being trined by Uranus in Gemini. Gemini rules advice, and it rules short-term or temporary projects. And so if you were in a controversy, and even if it wasn't a legal controversy, but it was a partnership controversy, and you were getting real tired of that, and you wanted to sort of settle that in one way or another, you could go to somebody like a mediator, who really, could hear both sides of a problem and then could mediate with you and help you find some sort of short-term solution that would give you a little peace of mind and help you concentrate a little bit more on your future. Your future is actually looking very bright, Aquarius. It's going to be particularly bright in 2026 when Uranus comes into Gemini, and then for 7 years it trines your Sun. Lucky you. But you might want to start getting set up for that now in some way. And if you are in a partnership controversy or you're contemplating something new that you want to do and there could be legal ramifications of that, then consulting a lawyer or a mediator would be money well spent right now, Aquarius. And I think you should spend the money. In the long run, it may save you money. That's why you should pay for a consultation right now. It may save you a lot more money down the road if you do that, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces. This is a time, Pisces, with Saturn in your sign, being trined by that exalted Jupiter in Cancer, and also being trined by the Moon and Mars today in Scorpio, that I think that Pisces, if there is, since Saturn has just come back in your sign and it's at the 28th degree, it is actually closely trining Jupiter in Cancer at 22 degrees. I think that if you have a move on your mind, or if you are thinking that you want to settle a little bit, Saturn is a planet that can, it rules time, and it can rule hard work, but it also can rule the rewards for that hard work. And it rules Capricorn, which rules retirement. If you are thinking of settling down a little bit, or retiring, Pisces, or just cutting back on your workload, and you were thinking of moving somewhere where it's a little bit easier for you to do that, or where you are thinking a little bit more about the heritage of your parents or your grandparents and what they taught you, you're on the right track, Pisces. And because there is a Grand Trine in the water signs, you are going to be able to get something right now. All the water signs and all the air signs are going to be able to do that because there's Grand Trines in both of them. So you will be able to get something right now. And oddly enough, it may not be from you doing something brand new. It might be that you decide to do something that you've done before, but this time get it right. And I think you can do it. And that's exactly what you should be doing. So even if you're doing it with a new person in your life, I think that you and somebody who may really care about you and has done that for quite a long time, if there's a possibility that you can sort of go back, not to the past. I'm not talking about you going back and repeating your past. What I'm talking about is that you can try something that might have failed before in another time or with another person. Don't go back to that, Pisces. What I'm talking about is that you're doing something that you might not have been at your best when you were doing it before, but this time you could get it right. And it might be with somebody new, but I think it has something more to do with the lessons you've learned from your parents or your grandparents, and the way they lived, and the guidance they gave you that made you successful. It's like coming home to a rich heritage that a lot of people don't think about when they're growing up and when they're trying new things. They don't think of their heritage. They always think of the future. Well, that's good. There's a Grand Trine in water signs and in air signs, but what I'm not talking about you starting over completely. All I'm talking about is that if you were thinking of trying something again, Pisces, this time you could get it right. So why don't you? That would be good for you. And sometimes an old wound doesn't heal until you try something new that takes you away from the wound and is more comfortable for you or is right for you at this time in your life. And that's what I think you're headed into. But Saturn is a planet of time. It's back in your sign. And it doesn't mean going back to the past. It means getting it right. Whatever you want to do now, Pisces, you can get it right. It might not be with the same people, but it could be something that didn't work before. And with your vast experience now, it could. And also you may be making a wiser choice. That Grand Trine in the water signs with Jupiter exalted trining your sun, that's going to help you a lot, Pisces. So go to it. If you can get something right, even if it's with somebody new, even if it is with something that is more reminiscent of the way you grew up or you lived or the way your parents taught you or the place where you grew up, go back home, Pisces, it's going to be okay. This time, It'll be okay. So good luck. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'm very sorry that I had a little frog in my throat at the start of the show. I apologize for that, but I will see you right here next week, and I want to thank you for the new subscribers, and I hope you tell your friends about the show too. So I'll see you then. Bye-bye.